Beneath the waves lies a world we barely understand. Glowing creatures, vanishing ships, strange sounds in the deep, these are the ocean's greatest secrets. Tonight, let these mysteries guide you into sleep. Welcome to the deep sea's unexplained mysteries. 1. The bloop sound. In the summer of 1997, an ultra-low frequency sound rumbled through the southern Pacific Ocean. It was loud, so loud that underwater microphones thousands of kilometers apart picked it up. Scientists named it the bloop. At first, they assumed it was geological, perhaps an underwater quake or ice cracking from a massive glacier. But the frequency and pattern didn't quite match. It had an organic rhythm, one that mimicked the vocal structure of living creatures. The problem? No known sea creature is large enough to make a sound of that magnitude. That's what makes the bloop so hauntingly mysterious. The NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, offered a theory years later. They believed the sound could have come from icebergs cracking and breaking away from Antarctica. But not everyone is convinced. Some researchers and enthusiasts still believe it could be a signal from a deep-sea leviathan, an unknown species dwelling in the lightless depths of the ocean trenches. What adds to the mystery is where it was recorded. The coordinates lie not far from where author H.P. Lovecraft imagined the lost underwater city of Alaya in his mythos, the sunken realm of the cosmic entity Chulhu. Coincidence? Maybe. But it's these odd alignments that keep our imagination afloat. In a world where only 5% of the ocean has been explored, is it really so impossible that something immense, something ancient, lurks in the dark, making sounds we can barely comprehend? As you drift deeper into sleep, let your mind wander through those shadowy waters, listening for the bloop. 2. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. In 2011, a team of Swedish treasure hunters scanning the floor of the Baltic Sea stumbled upon something that defied all explanation. It was a large, disc-shaped structure, roughly 200 feet wide, resting silently on the seafloor. What truly caught their attention wasn't just its size or shape, but its appearance. The formation seemed oddly symmetrical, almost artificial, with what looked like stairs, ramps, and corridors. It was quickly dubbed the Baltic Sea Anomaly. The images taken by sonar stirred the imagination of scientists and dreamers alike. Some compared it to the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. Others thought it looked like a sunken bunker or even an alien spacecraft. When divers attempted to approach the object, strange things began to happen. Electrical equipment malfunctioned, and compasses spun wildly. The deeper they went, the stranger things became. Skeptics argue it's simply a glacial deposit, an unusually shaped rock formation carved by Ice Age glacier. But even this explanation leaves questions unanswered. The surface of the structure is unusually smooth. Some parts appear to have right angles, which are extremely rare in nature. And there's even a 1,000-foot-long runway-like trail leading up to it, as if something crash-landed and skidded to a halt. To this day, the Baltic Sea Anomaly remains untouched, shrouded in silence at the bottom of the ocean. Whether it's a natural formation, an ancient ruin, or something from beyond our world, no one knows for sure. And maybe, in the stillness of the deep, it prefers to stay that way. 3. The Mariana Trench's unexplored depths. The Mariana Trench lies in the western Pacific Ocean and is the deepest natural trench on Earth. Its deepest point, known as Challenger Deep, reaches nearly 36,000 feet below sea level, so deep that if you dropped Mount Everest into it, the peak would still be underwater. But the most fascinating part? We've barely scratched the surface of what lies down there. The trench is shrouded in darkness, with crushing pressures and frigid temperatures. Few submersibles have dared to dive that far, and even fewer have returned with clear footage. Yet, what little we've seen reveals creatures that look more like science fiction than sea life. Translucent eels, faceless fish, and glowing jellyfish glide through a landscape that seems almost alien. There are strange sounds, too, low rumbles and mechanical-sounding clanks captured by deep-sea microphones. Some scientists believe these noises could come from undersea landslides or tectonic shifts. Others wonder if they are signs of something alive down there, something enormous and hidden. In such an untouched realm, the line between myth and reality blurs. Could there be entire ecosystems still unknown to science? Ancient creatures untouched by time? As you drift into sleep, imagine that trench, quiet, cold, and infinite, holding secrets in its shadowy folds. Unseen, undisturbed, waiting. 4. The disappearance of the USS Scorpion. In 1968, a U.S. Navy submarine called the USS Scorpion vanished in the Atlantic Ocean, just days before it was scheduled to return home. It was carrying 99 crew members. No distress call was ever made. No trace of the vessel appeared for months. Then, deep beneath the surface, over 10,000 feet down, search teams finally found the wreck. But the real mystery wasn't just the disappearance. It was the condition of the sub. It lay on the seafloor, broken into pieces, without a clear sign of what caused its destruction. The Navy investigated, of course, and offered theories, perhaps a malfunction in a torpedo or an internal system failure. But none of them were conclusive. Some believe the Scorpion might have been sunk by an enemy submarine during the height of the Cold War. Others think it suffered a catastrophic mechanical failure. But there are whispers, unofficial ones, that suggest something stranger. A sudden, unexplainable pressure spike. Instruments on nearby ships picking up odd sounds just before the sub went silent. Could it have encountered something deep in the ocean, something not man-made at all? The families of the crew were given no definite answers. The wreck remains where it fell, a silent tomb on the ocean floor, shrouded in mystery and silence. It's a haunting reminder that even the most advanced machines can vanish without a trace in the vastness of the deep. And sometimes, the sea keeps its secrets close. 5. The origin of deep-sea gigantism. In the ocean's deepest, darkest places, life takes on strange proportions. Shrimp the size of dinner plates. Squid with tentacles longer than school buses. Isopods that look like prehistoric cockroaches grown 100 times too large. This phenomenon is known as deep-sea gigantism, and to this day, no one knows exactly why it happens. Some scientists suggest it's the cold. Lower temperatures slow down metabolism, allowing animals to grow larger over longer lifespans. Others believe the crushing pressure and scarce food make being big an advantage. Larger bodies can store more energy and cover more distance to find a rare meal. But even with these theories, there's something mysterious about just how enormous some of these creatures become. Take the colossal squid, for example. It was only recently confirmed to exist, and even now, we've never seen one alive in its natural habitat. Or the giant amphipods found near the Mariana Trench, ghostly white and unnervingly large. They look like they swam straight out of another world. It's as if evolution took a strange detour in the deep. With no sunlight and few predators, creatures adapted in ways we still don't fully understand. Maybe these depths are Earth's last untouched wilderness, where evolution plays by its own rules. As you close your eyes, imagine these gentle giants moving slowly through a silent, starlit sea. Ancient, graceful, and utterly unknown. 6. The Bermuda Triangle's underwater secrets. The Bermuda Triangle, a stretch of ocean bordered by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has long been a place of myth, mystery, and vanishing vessels. Planes disappear from radar without a trace. Ships are found adrift, crews missing, no signs of distress. Theories abound, from rogue waves and magnetic anomalies to portals and extraterrestrial involvement. But deep beneath its surface lies another layer of enigma, its seafloor. Scattered across the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle are unusual formations, strange ridges, craters, and what some claim to be man-made structures. Divers have reported seeing what resemble large, geometric stone blocks, almost like the remains of ancient buildings. Some even say they've seen glowing lights emerging from the deep, or heard low-frequency hums with no clear source. Scientists have found pockets of methane hydrate beneath the seafloor in the region. When released suddenly, this gas can reduce water density, causing ships to sink instantly without warning. It's a compelling theory, but it doesn't explain aircraft disappearances or electrical malfunctions reported by pilots before they lose contact. Then there's the weather, rapid storms that form in moments, with waves towering dozens of feet. Even the US Navy and Coast Guard admit that the triangle is unusually dangerous, though no official supernatural explanation is ever offered. As you drift towards sleep, picture the calm blue waters hiding these secrets just beneath the surface. An ancient silence, waiting, as the currents whisper their unanswered questions through the ages. 7. The missing city of Atlantis. Long ago, in Plato's ancient writings, he described a magnificent city, Atlantis. A powerful, advanced civilization said to exist beyond the Pillars of Hercules, now thought to be the Strait of Gibraltar. According to legend, Atlantis thrived with incredible technology, vast wealth, and majestic architecture. Then, in a single night, it vanished beneath the sea. Many dismissed it as pure myth, a philosophical metaphor. But the idea that an entire city could sink into the ocean has captured imaginations for centuries. Could there be truth hidden in the tale? Over the years, explorers and scientists have searched the seas for clues. Some claim to have found possible ruins off the coasts of Spain, the Caribbean, and even near the Bahamas, massive stone blocks, mysterious circular formations, and submerged roads too straight to be natural. Despite these findings, nothing has ever been proven. Satellite images and sonar scans reveal anomalies on the ocean floor, odd shapes, sunken plateaus, but no one can say for certain what they are. Atlantis remains elusive, its presence more spiritual than physical, a symbol of something great lost to time. Perhaps it was swallowed by a massive earthquake, or a tsunami, or maybe it was never real at all. But as you float into slumber, picture it, gleaming towers beneath the waves, covered in coral and mystery. A forgotten world gently sleeping beneath the tides, just like you are now. 8. Bioluminescent creatures that defy explanation. The deep sea is one of the darkest places on Earth. Yet it glows. Down where sunlight can't reach, life has found a different way to shine. Creatures produce their own light through bioluminescence, an eerie, soft glow used for communication, hunting, and disguise. We've documented some of these glowing beings: anglerfish with lanterns on their heads, jellyfish pulsing with electric blue, squid that light up like constellations. But then, there are the ones we can't explain. Divers and remote cameras have occasionally captured glimpses of strange, radiant shapes moving through the dark, shapes that don't match any known species. One such sighting described a ribbon of green light spiraling through the water, over 100 feet long, vanishing as suddenly as it appeared. Another involved glowing orbs that changed color and shape, evading every attempt at identification. Some scientists believe these are simply rare or newly discovered organisms. Others wonder if bioluminescence may have evolved far beyond what we can understand, used for communication not just among animals, but perhaps in more intelligent ways. Could something intelligent be watching from the depths? Or is it simply nature being dazzling and strange, as it always is in the deep? As your thoughts grow softer, imagine a gentle blue glow in endless darkness, slowly pulsing, dancing, alive. A hidden language of light, whispered through black waters. And like the sea, your mind drifts quietly, glowing with dreams. 9. The unidentified submerged objects, USOs. While UFOs have long captured the world's attention, their underwater counterparts, unidentified submerged objects, or USOs, are just as eerie and far more elusive. These aren't just stories from fiction. Naval reports and civilian sightings over the decades have described glowing objects moving at incredible speeds beneath the ocean's surface, defying physics as we understand it. Some USOs have been tracked on sonar by military ships, moving faster than any known submarine. Others have been spotted by pilots and sailors, crafts entering or exiting the ocean with no splash, no slowing down, as if water posed no resistance at all. One famous case took place in 1963, when a US Navy exercise reportedly encountered a USO that circled a fleet of warships and submarines at untraceable speeds. And in more recent times, leaked footage has shown strange shapes disappearing into the sea, captured on infrared cameras by trained military personnel. What these objects are, no one can say. Some believe they are secret military technology. Others are sure they are extraterrestrial. And a few theorize they might be something else entirely, an intelligence native to the ocean, ancient and hidden, keeping just out of reach. As you relax deeper into stillness, imagine looking over the edge of a quiet boat at night. Below the dark water, something moves, fast, glowing, silent. Then it's gone, leaving only ripples, and the feeling that we are not alone beneath the waves. 10. The Lake Vostok anomalies beneath Antarctic ice. Far beneath Antarctica's thick, frozen surface lies something unexpected. A vast lake, sealed away for millions of years, untouched by sunlight or air. This is Lake Vostok, hidden beneath over 2 miles of solid ice. It's one of the largest subglacial lakes on Earth, and for decades, scientists wondered what secrets it might hold. When researchers finally drilled through the ice to take samples, they found anomalies they couldn't explain. Strange magnetic readings, sudden shifts in temperature, and, most intriguingly, microorganisms that seemed unfamiliar. These weren't just rare, they were unlike any known life forms on Earth. Some believe the isolation of the lake created an ecosystem frozen in time. Others suspect geothermal vents or even underwater currents may connect it to the ocean. But conspiracy theorists go further. They claim that satellite images near Vostok have been blurred or altered, and that hidden structures lie beneath the ice, perhaps of alien or ancient origin. Russian scientists, who led much of the exploration, remain tight-lipped about some of their findings. And rumors persist of secret expeditions, lost data, and hushed-up discoveries. Is Lake Vostok just a natural wonder, or something more? As you begin to drift off, imagine a world sealed beneath layers of ice, ancient and untouched. In perfect darkness, life stirs, silent, alien, waiting. And in the stillness of your dreams, you float just above that forgotten realm. 11. The Phantom Submarine Attacks of World War II. During the chaos of World War II, something unusual began happening beneath the ocean's surface. Allied and Axis navies reported encounters with submarines that didn't belong to any known fleet. They were fast, silent, and often vanished without a trace. These became known as phantom submarines, ghostly vessels that appeared and disappeared like shadows in the sea. Some believe these were secret enemy crafts. But reports came from all sides, in places no enemy should have been. Torpedoes would be fired from unseen sources. Periscopes spotted without any sign of a conning tower. And strange sonar echoes, craft moving at impossible speeds for the time, were recorded by seasoned operators who swore what they witnessed wasn't from this world. In one chilling incident, an American destroyer reported being tailed for hours by an underwater object it couldn't outrun or detect visually. It followed the ship with perfect precision, only to vanish the moment reinforcements arrived. Sailors, already under immense pressure, began sharing tales of ghost subs, haunted machines still patrolling the deep. Others thought they might be advanced prototypes or unrecorded Nazi technology. But decades later, many of these cases remain unconfirmed, and the supposed submarines have never been recovered or explained. So what were they? As you drift deeper into dreams, imagine that cold silence beneath wartime waters, and something moving quietly below. Not a ghost. Not a man. Just a presence, ancient, patient, and unknowable. 12. The strange signals from the deep, like Julia. In the vastness of the Pacific Ocean, a mysterious sound once echoed through the deep. It was recorded in 1999 by NOAA's hydrophones and was later named Julia. Unlike other underwater noises, this one was long, drawn out, and eerily organic, like a deep moan echoing across thousands of miles. Scientists couldn't immediately explain it. Theories ranged from glacial ice breaking to something alive. The sound was loud enough to be picked up by multiple listening stations spaced thousands of kilometers apart. But no creature we know of can produce a sound that immense. That's what makes Julia and other deep-sea signals, like upsweep or slow down, so haunting. They echo in a place where few ears ever listen. What makes Julia especially unsettling is that, just days after it was recorded, a large, dark shape was spotted by a satellite in the same area. It seemed to move beneath the waves, but there's no official record of what it was. Coincidence? Perhaps. But in the ocean, coincidences often lead to mystery. The NOAA later suggested the Julia sound came from an iceberg scraping the ocean floor. It's a practical explanation, but not everyone's convinced. The sound didn't behave like known ice noise. And no iceberg was confirmed in that location. So, as your eyes grow heavy, listen in your imagination for the ocean's strange whispers. Sounds without source. Voices without form. Maybe they're nature. Maybe they're something more. And maybe they're still calling. 13. Underwater crop circles. In 1995, divers off the coast of Japan discovered something astonishing on the seafloor. Etched into the sandy bottom, perfectly symmetrical patterns stretched several feet across, resembling the mysterious crop circles found in fields around the world. But these were under the sea, delicate rings, spirals, and ridge designs carved with precision. At first, people speculated wildly. Was this proof of an underwater intelligence? Some kind of signal or communication? The patterns were too complex to be accidental, too precise to be the work of tides or random ocean currents. 4 years, the origin remained unknown. Then, the truth surfaced, but it didn't make the mystery any less beautiful. A small species of pufferfish was discovered to be the artist. Using just its fins, it spent days, sometimes weeks, carving the intricate circles in the sand. All to attract a mate. The more elaborate the design, the more likely a female would be impressed. Even more amazing? These delicate structures are often destroyed by currents or storms, and the fish simply start again. Over and over. Perfecting the pattern, line by line. Nature's quiet masterpiece. But it still feels mysterious, doesn't it? Because for so long, we didn't know. And it makes you wonder, what other marvels are created beneath the waves, still unseen? As you begin to sleep, imagine that little fish working in silence, fin by fin, beneath soft currents. A gentle artist of the deep, making beauty just for the sake of being seen. 14. The unexplained seamounts on the ocean floor. Scattered across the vast ocean floor are thousands of underwater mountains, called seamounts, rising like forgotten towers from the darkness below. Most were never seen by human eyes until satellite mapping began. And some don't quite make sense. These formations don't align with normal volcanic patterns. Some appear in strange clusters, in areas where no tectonic activity should exist. Others are arranged in geometric patterns, or display flat tops and unnatural symmetry. A few rise suddenly from otherwise featureless plains, like lonely monuments from a time long past. Could these be the remnants of ancient civilizations swallowed by the sea? Natural formations shaped by forces we still don't understand? Or something even older, remnants of a planet before human memory? In 2014, a particularly striking pyramid-shaped seamount was discovered off the coast of Mexico. It seemed too symmetrical, too perfectly placed. Researchers were puzzled. And while many believe these shapes are natural, they also acknowledge how little we truly know about the ocean floor. After all, we've mapped more of the moon than we have of the deep sea. Some even whisper about underwater bases or ancient technologies lost to time. As you close your eyes, picture those massive mountains rising silently from the abyss, hidden under miles of water, undisturbed for millennia. Mysterious, unmoving, and full of secrets we haven't yet earned the right to understand. And in the quiet, the deep waits patiently. 15. The shadow zone, soundless deep-sea region. Far beneath the surface of the ocean lies a strange, hushed world known as the shadow zone, a deep layer of water where sound mysteriously disappears. Unlike the upper ocean, where sound travels easily, this region absorbs and bends sound waves, making it nearly impossible to hear or detect anything that moves through it. Submarines have used this zone for stealth for decades, but even scientists admit we don't fully understand it. This soundless corridor begins about 1,000 meters below the surface, where pressure, temperature, and salinity combine to create a unique acoustic environment. Sound waves entering this space don't bounce back or travel far. They become trapped, bent downward, and absorbed by the dense, cold waters. What moves within the shadow zone? That's the question that lingers. Creatures may live there, hidden not just by distance but by silence. Movements undetectable. Lives unseen. Stories untold. Some believe massive deep-sea animals could thrive there, forever avoiding our sonar and sensors. Others wonder if the shadow zone holds underwater signals we've never decoded, communications between unknown beings silent to our ears. As your thoughts drift deeper into calm, imagine this hidden realm, so quiet, so vast, so undisturbed. No light, no echo, no trace. Just the stillness of a world beyond listening. A perfect silence where only the ocean can hear itself. 16. The mystery of the Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Yonaguni, a small island in Japan, lies a submerged structure that has puzzled divers and scientists for decades. Discovered in 1986, the Yonaguni Monument looks nothing like the natural rock formations surrounding it. It features flat surfaces, sharp edges, right angles, and stair-like terraces, more like a temple or a pyramid than a coral reef. Some believe it's the ruins of a lost civilization, sunken thousands of years ago during an ancient cataclysm. They point to what appears to be carvings, symmetrical patterns, and even a large face etched into the rock, features too deliberate to be accidental. Skeptics argue it's a natural formation shaped by erosion and tectonic movement. But others insist the structure is man-made, older than any known human architecture in the region, perhaps even older than the pyramids of Egypt. If true, it would rewrite our understanding of ancient history. And yet, the site remains mostly unexplored. Its depth and strong currents make extended dives dangerous. Research is limited. And so, the mystery persists. Was it once above sea level? A forgotten city swallowed by the rising ocean? Or something more enigmatic? As you settle into rest, picture the monument beneath the waves, still, solemn, majestic. A staircase leading to nowhere. A puzzle locked in stone. A forgotten memory resting at the bottom of the sea. And maybe, in dreams, you'll walk those steps yourself. 17. Unidentified deep-sea structures. Across the vast and silent ocean floor, sonar scans have revealed something unexpected. Massive structures sitting thousands of meters beneath the waves. These are not shipwrecks, nor natural ridges or rock outcroppings. They are geometric, often symmetrical, and entirely unexplained. Some look like domes. Others resemble long corridors, circular depressions, or towering spires rising from the seabed. One such formation was found near the Azores Islands, a place steeped in myth and legend. The sonar image showed a massive pyramid-shaped object resting deep below the surface. Its angles appeared too clean, too precise, as if shaped by design rather than nature. Others have reported grid-like patterns off the coast of Cuba and Japan, like ancient streets now covered in sand and coral. Scientists hesitate to call these ruins. They suggest natural geological processes might explain the formations. But still, the patterns continue to emerge. And in areas that were once dry land, thousands of years ago, the idea of sunken settlements doesn't seem so impossible. With only a fraction of the ocean floor explored, many of these structures remain unvisited by human eyes. Just blips on sonar screens. Just shadows in the deep. As your breath slows and your eyes grow heavy, imagine standing at the edge of one of those submerged halls. Silent, forgotten, carved into the crust of the earth. What stories lie buried there? What hands once touched those stones? The sea remembers, even when we don't. 18. Fish that glow without a known light source. In the crushing dark of the deep sea, light becomes a rare and precious thing. Most bioluminescent creatures create their own glow using special chemicals within their bodies. But occasionally, scientists encounter something even more puzzling: fish that glow without any identifiable light source. These creatures emit an eerie radiance, yet researchers can't always explain how. They lack the usual bioluminescent organs. No trace of the expected enzymes or bacterial colonies is found. And yet, there they are, glowing gently like deep-sea lanterns. Some believe these fish may use an unknown biological process, one not yet documented by science. Others wonder if the glow is a reaction to extreme pressure, or perhaps a hidden organ unlike anything we've seen before. One particularly strange specimen, collected from over 4,000 meters deep, continued to glow for hours after being brought to the surface, even as it was removed from water entirely. There's also the question of why they glow. Is it camouflage in reverse, light to blend into lighter water above? A law? A warning? Or is it communication? Could these glows be signals, part of a language we haven't yet deciphered? As you fall deeper into sleep, imagine those soft lights flickering across the darkness, messages drifting through silence, unanswered. Beings from another world, glowing softly as they glide through an alien night. The deep is not empty. It's alive, and it speaks in light. 19. The depths of the Kermadec Trench. Tucked away in the southwest Pacific Ocean, just northeast of New Zealand, lies one of the least explored places on Earth, the Kermadec Trench. It plunges over 32,000 feet deep, making it one of the deepest oceanic trenches in the world. Yet, unlike the famed Mariana Trench, the Kermadec remains mostly unvisited, its mysteries left untouched by science or story. When deep-sea probes have dared to descend into its black waters, what they found is both eerie and extraordinary. Strange, spongy landscapes. Creatures with translucent skin and oversized eyes. Pressure-resistant life forms with unknown genetic makeups. But there are also things that don't appear in any known database: odd shadows, drifting shapes, and occasional bursts of unexplained light caught by cameras, flashes in the dark with no source in sight. There are also seismic anomalies, earthquakes that happen silently, without the usual build-up or explanation. Some researchers suspect hidden volcanic activity, or even deep-sea vents that have yet to be mapped. Others whisper that there are entire ecosystems down there unlike anything on the surface. Maybe even creatures from Earth's distant past, surviving in total isolation. It's a trench shrouded not just in water, but in silence. As your thoughts float downward, imagine sinking slowly into the Kermadec depths. No light, no sound, just gentle pressure, strange life, and ancient secrets waiting far beneath the waves. 20. Submarine volcanoes that suddenly vanish. Underneath the ocean's surface, volcanoes are far more common than most people realize. In fact, more than 75% of all volcanic activity on Earth happens underwater. These submarine volcanoes often remain hidden, erupting without warning and sometimes changing the shape of the ocean floor itself. But what's truly mysterious is how some of them simply vanish. One moment, satellites detect the birth of a seamount, a rising mountain of magma and rock. The next, it's gone. Not buried or eroded, but seemingly erased. Like it never existed. Some disappear without any recorded eruption or collapse. No ash. No bubbles. Just absence. One such case was recorded in the Pacific, where sonar identified a new underwater volcano. For weeks, it continued to grow, eventually becoming the size of a small island. Then, just days later, returning scans showed nothing. As if the ocean had swallowed it whole, leaving behind only flat seafloor. Theories suggest rapid collapses, magma chambers draining inward, or the volcano being hollow to begin with. But none of these fully explain the speed and silence of the vanishing. What if some of these weren't ordinary volcanoes at all? What if something else is shaping the seafloor, something we haven't yet seen? As you close your eyes, picture these silent towers beneath the sea. Glowing gently, rising with purpose, only to fade back into the deep like a memory. forgotten by the surface, remembered only by the sea. 21. The unfound wreck of flight MH370. In March of 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 vanished from radar during a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. It carried 239 passengers and crew. No distress signal. No warning. Just silence. The plane's transponder was disabled mid-flight, and the aircraft turned sharply off course before disappearing over the southern Indian Ocean. Despite one of the largest and most expensive search efforts in aviation history, the wreckage has never been fully recovered. Only a few pieces have washed ashore, fragments of wing flaps, a section of the fuselage, off the coast of Africa and remote islands in the Indian Ocean. But the main wreckage remains hidden. What makes this mystery even more haunting is the ocean's role. The southern Indian Ocean is one of the most remote and least explored bodies of water on the planet. The currents are strong. The seafloor is rugged and vast, stretching for miles in every direction. Sonar scans and submersibles have searched hundreds of thousands of square kilometers and found nothing. Some believe the plane plunged into the sea and rests somewhere deep, where pressure and time have concealed it. Others whisper about more elaborate theories, hijacking, government secrets, or something stranger still. But none of them can erase the central truth. In our modern world, a massive jetliner vanished, and the ocean swallowed its story. As you drift into sleep, imagine that lonely silence beneath the waves. The kind where secrets sleep undisturbed, and where the answer to a modern riddle may rest forever unseen. 22. Giant squid attacks on submarines. For centuries, sailors have whispered of krakens, massive sea monsters with curling tentacles, capable of pulling ships into the depths. Today, we know giant squid are real. Some stretch over 40 feet long, with dinner-plate-sized eyes and beaks that can tear through steel. But what's far less known is how often they seem to interact with submarines. Modern naval logs, many kept classified for years, contain accounts of submarines being struck by unknown objects. Some describe damage to hulls, deep scratches and suction cup-shaped impressions too large to be made by any known animal. In several cases, sonar has picked up massive, fast-moving shapes circling or approaching the vessel before disappearing into the abyss. One encounter by a Russian submarine in the 1980s described a sudden impact and electrical malfunction. When they surfaced, they found tentacle-like markings on the outer casing. The crew believed it had been attacked by something biological, something large. Could giant squid view submarines as rivals, or perhaps prey? Or are these just coincidences, exaggerated by fear in the pitch black of the deep? We've only observed giant squid alive a handful of times. Most of what we know comes from dead specimens that wash ashore. What if the largest ones never rise at all? As you gently fade into dreams, imagine a vast creature gliding silently through the dark. Ancient, graceful, and curious. Beneath the surface, in a world without light, it reaches out, not to attack, but to understand. 23. The hexagon patterns off the Australian coast. Off the coast of Western Australia, beneath hundreds of feet of ocean, sonar scans have revealed something puzzling. Perfectly geometric patterns etched into the seafloor. These are not random ridges or coral growths. They form massive honeycomb-like shapes, hexagons, spaced evenly, sometimes stretching for miles. From above, it resembles the surface of an alien world. Geologists were among the first to dismiss it as a trick of sediment or an artifact of scanning. But repeated expeditions confirmed the shapes are real. Some resemble the patterns seen in dried-out salt flats on land, while others are raised, like walls. Their symmetry is unnatural, too clean, too precise. Some speculate it could be ancient volcanic activity, lava forming perfect hexagonal columns like those seen on land, such as the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. But there's no volcanic history in the area that supports this. Others wonder if it could be the remnants of a lost civilization, foundations of sunken structures eroded by time and tide. But what draws the imagination most is the sheer scale. If they are man-made, who could have built them? And when? As you close your eyes and slip into the ocean of dreams, picture swimming over a vast honeycomb seafloor, endless patterns unfolding beneath you. Silent, beautiful, forgotten. They whisper of a past we never knew, or perhaps a message written in geometry meant for us to find when we're ready. 24. Deep sea jellyfish that change shape instantly. In the silent dark of the deep ocean, jellyfish pulse like living lanterns, graceful, glowing, and alien. But some species, newly discovered, defy everything we thought we knew. These deep-sea jellyfish can change shape almost instantly, folding and twisting their bodies in ways that no other creature can replicate. First spotted by deep-diving remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, these strange jellyfish looked like umbrellas one moment, and then like spinning discs or blooming flowers the next. In a flash, their tentacles retract or explode outward in spirals. Their movement doesn't follow typical jellyfish patterns. It's as if they are performing a silent, liquid dance for reasons we can't understand. What's even stranger is that they do this without any visible muscles or bones. Scientists suspect their bodies are made of materials far more elastic and responsive than anything found on land. Some think it's a form of camouflage, confusing predators by constantly changing shape. Others wonder if it's a kind of communication, a visual language of motion. And then there are those who believe we've only seen a fraction of what these creatures are capable of. That these jellyfish might represent an entirely unknown branch of life, evolved for the crushing depths and eternal dark. Let your thoughts drift now, weightless and slow, like a jellyfish riding deep currents. Shapes shifting, glowing softly, mysterious and free. Beneath the waves, form has no limits, and life, no rules. 25. The silent zones where sonar stops working. World of ocean exploration, sonar is our guiding light. It maps the seafloor, tracks marine life, and helps submarines navigate the deep. But there are places, rare and unsettling, where sonar suddenly stops working. These are known as silent zones, stretches of ocean where sound refuses to bounce back, where the signal simply vanishes. Imagine a ship sending out its sonar ping, sharp, clear, confident. But instead of a returning echo, there's nothing. Just silence. It's as if the ocean itself has swallowed the sound whole. These anomalies have been reported in the Pacific, the Indian Ocean, and even parts of the Arctic. Not just once, but repeatedly. And the strangest part? The silence isn't always tied to depth, temperature, or known geological formations. Some scientists suggest pockets of unique water density, where sound is absorbed rather than reflected. Others think it might be due to unusual magnetic fields disrupting equipment. But even with advanced technology, we still don't fully understand why these zones exist, or what might be hiding in them. Could these quiet pockets be natural cloaks for deep-sea life we haven't yet discovered? Or perhaps ancient structures absorbing sound in ways we can't explain? As you drift into dreams, imagine sailing across one of these silent seas. All is calm. All is still. Even your instruments are quiet. And beneath you, something listens back. 26. The coral towers taller than skyscrapers. Far beneath the surface, beyond the sunlit shallows, coral doesn't stop growing. In fact, in some of the world's most remote ocean regions, coral reefs have formed massive vertical towers, rising from the seafloor like natural skyscrapers. Some of these coral towers are taller than the Empire State Building, stretching thousands of feet high, yet unseen by human eyes for centuries. They are built by tiny organisms, coral polyps, layering upon one another over millions of years. What makes them so mysterious is that many of these towers were discovered only recently, hidden in places we thought we had already mapped. Some were found by accident, during oil surveys or deep-sea fishing expeditions. And each time, scientists are stunned by their size and the life teeming within. These coral giants often support entire ecosystems, fish, crustaceans, even sharks, all living in vertical cities of color and texture. But their growth patterns don't always follow what we know. Some towers lean. Others spiral. A few seem to hover, with thin bases holding up massive domes of coral high above the seafloor. Could some of them be anchored to ancient sunken land? Or perhaps growing on top of forgotten structures? As you settle into stillness, imagine gliding past one of these glowing towers in the deep. Each crevice alive with motion. Each layer a chapter of time. They are not just reefs, they are monuments. Silent, soaring cathedrals of the sea. 27. Bioluminescent creatures that pulse in patterns. In the pitch-black depths of the ocean, where sunlight never reaches, bioluminescent life thrives. These creatures produce their own light, glowing softly in hues of blue, green, even red. But among the countless glowing organisms drifting through the abyss, some have been observed doing something even more mysterious. They pulse in coordinated patterns, as if communicating in a language of light. Deep-diving research submarines have captured footage of these pulsing displays, fish blinking in synchronized flashes, jellyfish forming rippling rings of light across their domes, and even schools of tiny shrimp lighting up in wave-like pulses. These aren't random flashes. They move with rhythm and structure, like sentences written in glow. What could they be saying? Scientists believe these light shows might be used for mating, defense, or even hunting. Some deep-sea species flash to distract predators. Others use pulses to mimic the patterns of more dangerous creatures, tricking would-be threats. And then there are those that flash in complete silence and solitude, for reasons no one yet understands. Could this be a form of intelligent communication? A natural Morse code of the deep? As you close your eyes, imagine yourself floating through an endless night, surrounded by drifting lanterns. They flicker, pause, then pulse again, calm, soft, endless. A quiet conversation happening just beneath the surface of human understanding. The ocean speaks, in light. 28. The black smokers that host alien-like life. At the bottom of the ocean, where pressure is crushing and heat boils from the Earth's core, strange towers rise from the seafloor. These are black smokers, underwater volcanic vents that spew mineral-rich, superheated water into the icy sea. The water shoots out dark and thick, like smoke, staining the cold silence of the deep. But what's truly shocking isn't the vents themselves, it's what lives around them. Clusters of bizarre life forms cling to these vents, thriving in a world without sunlight. Giant tube worms with blood-red plumes, blind shrimp that sense heat instead of light, and bacteria that feed not on photosynthesis, but chemosynthesis, drawing energy directly from the Earth's chemicals. These ecosystems are unlike anything else on Earth. They survive where life shouldn't. The conditions are so extreme, scalding temperatures, toxic metals, utter darkness, that some scientists believe black smokers could offer a clue to how life first began. Or even more curiously, how it might exist on other planets. Moons like Europa and Enceladus have icy surfaces but may hide oceans with similar hydrothermal activity deep beneath. Could the same kind of alien-like life be waiting there? As you drift into sleep, picture the ocean's floor breathing heat. A towering vent, black as night, surrounded by glowing worms and colorless crabs, dancing around a plume of mystery. In that otherworldly warmth, life finds a way. 29. The unexplained sounds like the upsweep. In the vastness of the Pacific Ocean, a strange sound has been recorded again and again since the late 1980s. Known as the upsweep, this eerie, rising tone echoes through the water like a distant mechanical howl. It's not a whale, not a boat, and not the shifting of the Earth's crust, at least not in any way we recognize. The upsweep appears in seasonal bursts, most active in spring and autumn, and no one knows exactly why. What makes it so haunting is its persistence. Scientists at NOAA, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, have tracked it using underwater microphones, called hydrophones, spread across the ocean floor. The sound seems to originate from somewhere in the Pacific, but it's never been pinned down. It moves, lingers, then fades, only to return months later. Could it be volcanic activity deep below the seabed? Or is it something biological, an as yet undiscovered sea creature sending out a call? Some speculate it may even be machinery, long lost or deliberately hidden, still humming away under the waves. The mystery deepens because no one has ever seen what's making the sound. As you breathe slowly and drift, imagine floating in a dark underwater world and hearing that rising, melodic echo in the distance. Faint but unmistakable, like a whale song from something ancient or not quite of this earth. What sings in the deep? And why? 30. The eel city discovered near an underwater volcano. In the shadowy waters near Samoa, scientists made a curious discovery. Surrounding the base of an underwater volcano, a swarm of Murray eels had gathered in unusual numbers, hundreds of them twisting and writhing together in crevices, hunting as a group. This strange congregation came to be called Eel City. Normally, Murray eels are solitary creatures, lurking in holes and striking at passing prey alone. But here, they move together, unbothered by each other's presence. Even more fascinating, they seem drawn to the volcanic activity, heat and minerals pouring from the sea floor. It's as if the volcano provides them with more than just shelter. Perhaps warmth, abundant prey, or something else entirely. Eel City was discovered by accident during a research dive in a remotely operated vehicle. The scientists watched in amazement as one eel after another emerged from cracks in the rocks, sleek and silent. No other place in the ocean shows this kind of behavior, not in such numbers, and not around active underwater volcanoes. What are they doing there? Is it a feeding ground, a spawning site, or something we have no name for yet? As you close your eyes, imagine descending into the dark blue, your lights flickering across black volcanic stone, and from the shadows, eyes appear. Long, smooth bodies slip out like ghosts, moving as one. Not threatening, just watching. Eel City sleeps, forever circling in the warmth of the Earth's fire. 31. The disappearing trenches that shift overnight. The ocean floor is far from still. It moves, groans, reshapes itself in the quiet darkness where no sunlight has ever touched. But sometimes, scientists return to familiar underwater locations and find something disorienting. A deep trench or crevice that was once mapped has vanished, completely filled in, shifted, or collapsed overnight. These are the disappearing trenches, strange features that seem to move or seal themselves as if the Earth is hiding something. Using sonar, satellites, and deep-sea drones, researchers have charted countless valleys, ridges, and canyons beneath the sea. But in certain parts of the world, especially along tectonic boundaries like the Mariana or Tonga trenches, entire formations have been recorded and then later found missing. Not eroded, not buried, just gone. And the speed at which they vanish defies the slow grind of geology. What could cause such rapid, quiet changes? Some believe these shifting voids are signs of extreme seismic activity, hidden earthquakes or silent collapses beneath miles of water. Others wonder if vast underwater landslides are filling in trenches, erasing them like chalk from a blackboard. A few even speculate about ancient structures or sinkholes swallowed by the Earth itself. As you drift toward sleep, imagine watching the ocean floor from afar. One day, there's a great scar in the Earth, and the next, only smooth darkness. The sea has a way of covering its secrets, sometimes overnight. 32. The deep sea lakes with their own shorelines. It sounds impossible, lakes at the bottom of the ocean. And yet, they exist, pools of thick, salty water that don't mix with the surrounding sea. These are deep sea brine pools, and they behave like alien worlds, complete with their own currents, surfaces, and even shorelines. Formed from highly concentrated salt deposits, these lakes are so dense that they remain separate from the ocean above. If you were to descend to one, you'd see a shimmering mirror beneath the sea, where the submersible seems to float just above the surface of a second ocean. The edge of the brine pool looks like a shoreline, complete with ridges and waves that lap gently against the surrounding seabed. But these lakes are far from friendly. The water inside them is often toxic, rich with hydrogen sulfide and almost no oxygen. Life here must be specialized: strange tube worms, bacteria, and alien-like crustaceans that thrive in darkness and poison. When fish accidentally fall in, they often don't come back out. Some of these pools have unique names, like the Jacuzzi of Despair or the Hot Tub of Death, because of their extreme conditions. They might be deadly, but they are mesmerizing, like dreamscapes that defy the rules of nature. As you fall deeper into rest, imagine drifting just above one of these lakes within the sea. A silver mirror below, untouched and unmoving. Strange life stirs beneath its surface, and time feels slower here. A world within a world, waiting. 33. The vertical migration of billions every night. Every night, when the sun dips below the horizon, something remarkable happens in the deep ocean. Without a sound, billions of sea creatures begin to rise from the depths, swimming toward the surface in the largest migration on Earth, a daily, vertical movement that happens under cover of darkness. Tiny plankton, shimmering jellyfish, lanternfish, squid, and other bioluminescent life forms ascend together in a quiet procession. During the day, they hide in the deep to avoid predators. But at night, they drift upward to feed, to move, to live just beneath the surface where nutrients are richest. And as dawn breaks, they slowly descend again into the safety of the dark. This nightly ritual is called diel vertical migration, and it happens across every ocean, every day, no matter the season. But why such strict timing? Why so coordinated? And how do these countless creatures know when to begin? Some believe it's all instinct, responses triggered by the fading light. Others suspect subtle changes in temperature, pressure, or even sound play a part. Yet despite years of observation, the precise orchestration of this phenomenon remains one of the great puzzles of marine science. As you let go of today, imagine a soft cloud of glowing life rising from the ocean floor like mist. Silent, synchronized, and unknowable. Billions of lights, dancing upward into the quiet dark. A secret ballet, performed for no one except the moon. 34. The phantom jelly that defies classification. Deep beneath the surface, near the crushing blackness of the ocean's twilight zone, a creature drifts like a ghost through the water. Known only as the phantom jelly, this mysterious being was first recorded by deep-sea explorers using a robotic sub. It is unlike anything we're used to seeing, nearly invisible, vast, and so delicate it looks like it might vanish if touched. The phantom jelly has a central bell-shaped body, but extending from it are four long, flowing arms, ribbon-like and seemingly endless. In some cases, these arms are 10 meters long or more, trailing in the current like soft veils. The creature's movements are graceful and slow, as if it's dancing through the water, entirely untouched by time. No one has captured one. We've only seen it through brief glimpses, floating past cameras in the deep. It doesn't fit easily into known categories. Its behavior, biology, and even diet remain largely speculative. Scientists suspect it might be related to deep-sea jellyfish, but it has traits that don't quite match. Why is it so rare? How does it survive in such a harsh, cold environment? And is it truly rare, or just incredibly good at hiding? As you float into sleep, imagine the phantom jelly moving slowly in the distance. Its arms spiral like ink in water. Its body pulses like a quiet heart. It doesn't rush. It doesn't fear. It simply exists, a drifting mystery in the endless deep. 35. The mysterious circles on the ocean floor. In the calm, sandy seabeds near Japan, divers have discovered something stunning. Perfect circles, about 6 feet wide, intricately carved into the ocean floor. These aren't random patterns left by currents or tides. They are symmetrical, delicate, and mesmerizing. At first, no one knew what could have created them. They looked like alien messages or ancient underwater glyphs, untouched by human hands. For years, their origin remained a mystery. But then, through quiet observation, the truth slowly emerged. A small species of pufferfish was found to be the artist. These fish, just a few inches long, use their fins to push and swirl the sand, creating valleys and ridges in precise formations. And why? To attract a mate. The circles are love nests, underwater mandalas of courtship, carefully constructed and left to wait, patiently for the right companion. But even with this discovery, questions remain. Some circles appear in places where no pufferfish have been observed. Others show details and symmetry that seem beyond what a single fish could create. Could ocean currents amplify their designs? Or are there other creatures, still undiscovered, weaving shapes into the sand below? As your body unwinds, picture yourself drifting above one of these circles. No sound, just the gentle ripple of water. The pattern below glows faintly in the dim light. A symbol of longing etched in sand, in a world where few will ever see it. 36. The deep sea sharks that glow in the dark. In the pitch-black waters far below the surface, where sunlight cannot reach, some sharks have evolved a stunning secret: they glow. This is known as bioluminescence, and certain deep-sea sharks, like the lantern shark and the kitefin shark, are capable of producing their own light from within their bodies. It's not a bright glow. It's soft, almost like moonlight. These sharks use the light for many reasons. Some illuminate their bellies to match the faint light above, becoming invisible to predators below. Others use it to attract prey or signal to potential mates. But in every case, the glow is eerie, quiet, and beautiful. The mystery lies in the how and why. Scientists have only recently begun to understand the special cells, called photophores, that create the light. But many questions remain. Why do some sharks glow only in certain patterns? Why do some light up only at certain depths? And how did this ability evolve in such a harsh and lonely place? These glowing sharks move slowly through the water, their light dancing across the seabed like stars drifting across the night sky. They are reminders that even in the coldest, darkest places, nature finds a way to shine. As you breathe deeply and close your eyes, imagine one of these sharks gliding past, silent, calm, and glowing like a spirit of the sea, drifting endlessly, lighting the dark, without ever needing to be seen. 37. The unknown creatures caught on deep-sea cameras. When explorers send cameras down into the deepest parts of the ocean, they often return with something unexpected, footage of creatures no one can explain. These aren't always dramatic sea monsters. Sometimes they are just a shadow, a movement, a flicker of something that doesn't match any known species. One famous clip shows a creature dubbed the Cascade Blob, a floating, shape-shifting mass that glides eerily through the darkness. Another features a long, spiraling form that moves like a ribbon caught in a current, but with a purposeful grace that suggests awareness. These aren't just fish or jellyfish. There's something else. Some of the footage is dismissed as tricks of the light or misidentified known animals. But many videos remain in scientific limbo. No one can say what they are. They don't resemble anything we've catalogued, and the ocean is too deep, too vast, to investigate them all. Could these be remnants of ancient life, evolved in complete darkness? Or entirely new species that have lived for millions of years, never surfacing, never needing the light? As you relax deeper, imagine being inside one of those submersibles. Just a screen between you and a world unknown. Then suddenly, something passes by. Fluid. Alien. Gone before the camera can focus. The deep doesn't give up its secrets easily. Sometimes it only shows a glimpse, just enough to keep us dreaming. 38. The Great Underwater Waterfall Illusion. Off the coast of Mauritius, in the Indian Ocean, there's a place where the sea appears to plunge into a great abyss. From above, it looks as if the ocean is pouring down a hidden hole, a massive underwater waterfall in slow motion. But this isn't a trick of geology. It's a trick of the eye, a breathtaking illusion caused by the way sand and silt fall off the edge of an underwater shelf. The currents here sweep sand down into deeper waters, creating the appearance of a flowing cascade. When viewed from a satellite or drone, it seems as though the ocean is collapsing into itself. The contrast between the bright, shallow lagoon and the dark, plunging depths gives the illusion of a waterfall beneath the waves. Though it's not a real waterfall, the illusion is so powerful that it has sparked myths and wonder. Local legends tell of sea gods, lost cities, and ancient sinkholes that swallow ships whole. And even now, pilots and visitors often pause to marvel at the scene, unsure if what they are seeing is real or imagined. As you close your eyes tonight, picture standing above this mysterious place. The ocean glimmers like glass. Beneath you, it seems to fall forever, a slow-motion tumble into shadow. It's not a fall, it's a whisper. A visual dream carved into the sea itself. 39. The unseen whirlpools beneath the waves. Beneath the calm surface of the ocean, hidden from view, massive underwater whirlpools are constantly churning. These aren't like the little spirals you see near a drain or in rivers. These are vast, powerful, and completely invisible from above, rotating currents that can stretch for miles, swirling silently in the deep. Called eddies, these spinning masses of water form when ocean currents twist and fold upon themselves. Some are warm, some cold. Some rise slowly from the deep, others spin near the surface before sinking down again. What makes them strange is not just their size, but their behavior. Some whirlpools seem to persist for years. Others travel across oceans, carrying heat, nutrients, and sometimes even entire ecosystems trapped inside them. In 2013, researchers discovered 2 giant underwater whirlpools in the South Atlantic that rotated with such perfect symmetry, they created small pressure changes in the water, miniature underwater tornadoes that could affect ships, animals, and even satellites measuring ocean levels. And yet, we rarely detect them. They move in silence. They shift patterns without warning. They seem to appear and vanish like ghosts, changing how life flows beneath the waves. As you float gently into sleep, imagine one of these giant spirals turning slowly below you. You can't hear it. You can't see it. But it's there, massive and graceful, rotating in the deep. A hidden force, quietly stirring the mystery of the sea. 40. The disappearance of the AUV Nereus. The AUV Nereus was a marvel of technology, an unmanned deep-sea exploration vehicle designed to go where no human could. It was one of the very few machines capable of reaching the Mariana Trench, the deepest known part of Earth's ocean, nearly 7 miles down. In 2014, Nereus descended into the Kermadec Trench near New Zealand, tasked with exploring some of the most extreme and unexplored environments on the planet. It was a quiet mission, routine and safe. The vehicle had done this sort of thing before. But then, silence. Communication was lost. When search teams investigated, they found nothing but a few scattered fragments floating on the surface. No wreckage. No crash data. Nereus had vanished, crushed, perhaps, by the immense pressure, or maybe lost to something unknown. At that depth, the water pressure is over 1,000 times stronger than at the surface. Even the slightest design flaw could prove fatal. But Nereus had been built for this. It had survived greater pressures before. The cause of its disappearance remains uncertain. Some believe a structural failure. Others suggest an implosion triggered by sudden current shifts. And then, there are whispers of something else down there. Watching. Waiting. As your breath slows, imagine Nereus on its final descent. Lights flickering, cameras rolling, gliding into the dark unknown. Deeper and deeper, until the silence swallows it whole. Not everything we send into the deep returns. Some mysteries remain where they belong. 41. The strange sounds of Julia and Upsweep. In the deep stillness of the ocean, where silence reigns supreme, sometimes something speaks. Not in words, but in mysterious, unexplained sounds, recorded by underwater microphones used to monitor seismic activity and submarine movement. Among the most famous are 2 strange audio phenomena, Julia and Upsweep. Julia was first heard in 1999. It's a long, mournful moan, lasting nearly a full minute. The sound is low and deep, as if something enormous sighed beneath the sea. It was so loud it was picked up by sensors thousands of miles apart. And no one knows where it came from. Some suggest ice breaking, but the tone doesn't quite fit. Others believe it might be biological, something alive, far below. Then there's Upsweep, first detected in 1991. It's a repeating, rising tone, like a distant siren that plays underwater at regular intervals. It appears to follow the changing seasons, growing louder in the spring and fall, then fading away. Again, its origin is unknown. It seems to come from somewhere in the Pacific, but no one can pinpoint it. Scientists have tried to explain these sounds, but nothing fits perfectly. They are too structured to be random, yet too strange to be familiar. And so, they remain deep ocean whispers with no name, no face. As you begin to drift into sleep, imagine floating in that vast, dark sea. The world is quiet, until a soft, haunting note rises from the abyss. Not threatening, just curious. Calling from somewhere far, far below. 42. The alien-like creatures of the Hadal Zone. Far deeper than most submarines can go, beyond the reach of light, lies a place called the Hadal Zone. Named after Hades, the ancient Greek god of the underworld, this is the deepest part of the ocean, trenches that sink miles below the seafloor, into pure pressure and darkness. And yet, even here, life exists. But it's not like any life we know. Here swim creatures that seem more at home in a science fiction film than on Earth. Transparent eels with glowing organs. Blob-like animals that ooze through cracks. Gelatinous forms with no skeletons and no eyes. Some have delicate, wing-like fins. Others pulse with bioluminescence, flashing gentle lights into the void. These aren't monsters. They are survivors, perfectly adapted to a world where sunlight never shines and pressure could crush a submarine. One of the strangest is the Mariana snailfish, found at depths over 26,000 feet. Its skin is soft like jelly, with no scales. Its bones are thin, almost ghost-like. And yet, it thrives in a place humans can't survive for even a second. Many of these creatures are still unnamed. Some have been seen only once. Others appear briefly on camera, then vanish forever into the trench. As your eyelids grow heavy, picture these beings gliding silently in the pitch-black waters, gentle, glowing shapes drifting between shadows. No rush, no noise, just existence, floating in eternity. In the deepest dark, they live, peacefully unknown. 43. The Secret of the Baltic Sea Anomaly. In 2011, a team of Swedish divers discovered something strange at the bottom of the Baltic Sea, an object that looked almost man-made, resting silently 300 feet below the surface. It was large, round, and shaped oddly like the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. Immediately, the world took notice. Dubbed the Baltic Sea Anomaly, the object is around 200 feet in diameter, with a staircase-like structure on one side and strange grooves along its surface. Sonar images showed a flattened dome with right angles and smooth curves, features that don't usually occur naturally in this way. Some said it might be the remains of a sunken ship or even a World War II structure. But others weren't so sure. There were whispers of an ancient UFO, long buried in the sea. Or perhaps a remnant of a lost civilization, a forgotten structure from a time before history began. What puzzled many was that electronic devices reportedly stopped working when close to it. Cameras, lights, even satellite phones, everything simply shut down. Yet, no clear answer has emerged. It's too deep and too remote to study properly. And so, it waits, unmoved, untouched, and mostly unseen. As you let your thoughts grow soft, imagine this lonely object resting beneath cold waters, cloaked in darkness. Covered in time and silence. Is it stone? Is it steel? Or something else entirely? Sometimes the ocean hides things not just from sight, but from understanding. 44. The curious case of deep-sea gigantism. Imagine a shrimp the size of a cat. Or an isopod, a distant cousin of the pill bug, growing as large as a dinner plate. This isn't science fiction. It's a real phenomenon called deep-sea gigantism, where creatures living far beneath the surface grow much larger than their shallow water relatives. But why? That's part of the mystery. Some scientists believe the cold temperatures slow down metabolism, allowing animals to grow longer over time. Others point to the immense pressure or the scarcity of food that favors bigger bodies with better energy efficiency. There's also less competition and fewer predators down there, which might give species the space and time to evolve into giants. Among the strangest examples is the giant squid, which can grow up to 40 feet long, with eyes the size of dinner plates. Then there's the giant amphipod, a translucent scavenger that looks like an alien shrimp, magnified beyond belief. Even sea spiders in the deep can become monstrous in size, gliding slowly through the cold with long, delicate legs. Despite all our exploration, we still don't know how many of these oversized creatures exist, or how big they can truly become. Each time we send a camera down, we see something new. Something unexpectedly large. As you relax, picture a quiet deep sea canyon. In the dark, a shape moves, slow, graceful, and enormous. Not a monster. Just life, in a form we're still learning to understand. The deeper we go, the bigger the surprises. 45. The lost city of Cuba's underwater ruins. Off the western coast of Cuba, beneath the waves, lies something that shouldn't be there: massive stone structures arranged in geometric patterns, over 2,000 feet below the surface. Discovered in the early 2000s by sonar scanning, these formations seem to resemble pyramids, roads, and even what looked like buildings, spread across several square miles of ocean floor. Some believe it's a natural geological formation. Others think it might be the remains of a once thriving civilization that vanished long ago, swallowed by the sea. What makes this discovery even more mysterious is its depth. For structures to have ended up that far below, they would have had to be built over 50,000 years ago, long before any known advanced human societies existed. Cuban marine archaeologists and geologists visited the site and captured grainy images of what appeared to be stacked stones and symmetrical shapes, but the water is deep, the visibility poor, and the current strong. Full-scale exploration remains difficult and expensive. Could it be a lost city? A forgotten culture erased by time and tides? Or perhaps just an illusion, a trick of nature mimicking the hands of man? As you drift toward sleep, imagine these stone shapes resting peacefully in the deep. Once, perhaps, they stood tall beneath the sun. Now, they lie silent, enshrouded by coral and darkness, hidden in the sea's quiet embrace. Time forgets, but the ocean remembers. 46. The bioluminescent lakes beneath the sea. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, in places few have dared to explore, there are hidden lakes, pools of brine that sit on the seafloor like ghostly, glowing mirrors. These are underwater lakes, made of super salty water so dense they don't mix with the seawater above. They shimmer and ripple like normal lakes, but they are trapped in total darkness, miles below the waves. Some of these brine pools glow faintly. This light doesn't come from the water itself, but from strange life forms living around their edges. Bioluminescent bacteria, tube worms, and eerie jellyfish light up the darkness with pulses of green and blue. It creates an otherworldly sight, a glowing shore within a pitch-black sea. But these lakes are deadly. The water is thick with salt and sometimes toxic with methane or hydrogen sulfide. To most life, they are lethal. Yet, to some, they are home. What's especially mysterious is how life manages to thrive around them at all. There's no sunlight, no oxygen, and almost no food, yet entire ecosystems survive at their edges, feeding off chemical energy and glowing like stars in the abyss. As you close your eyes, imagine slowly descending into the ocean's depths, the world above fading away. There, in the darkness, you find a still, glowing pool, a lake inside the sea. Silent, strange, beautiful, like a secret dream, hidden in the deep. 47. The disappearance of the USS Scorpion. In 1968, a U.S. Navy submarine known as the USS Scorpion vanished in the Atlantic Ocean. It had been returning from a mission when all contact was suddenly lost. No distress signals. No warnings. Just silence. A few months later, after an extensive search, the wreckage was found, 11,000 feet below the surface, broken into pieces on the seafloor. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened. Some theories point to a mechanical failure. Perhaps a torpedo misfired or an engine failed. Others believe it could have been sabotage, or even a secret encounter with another submarine during the Cold War. There were hints of strange acoustic signals picked up by underwater microphones, sharp noises, like metal breaking or something detonating, but they've never been fully explained. The mystery deepens when you consider that parts of the sub remain classified. The US Navy has offered conclusions, but many suspect there's more to the story. Was it a tragic accident? Or something far more secretive? The Scorpion rests quietly on the ocean floor, undisturbed for decades. Its 99 crew members lost in the deep, their fate still a matter of speculation and quiet mourning. As you begin to drift off, imagine that silent vessel resting beneath miles of water, surrounded by stillness. Time stands still there. No answers rise from the deep. Only questions. And the sea, as always, keeps its secrets. 48. The strange geometry of deep-sea coral towers. In the darkest parts of the ocean, where light never reaches, something unexpected has been found: enormous coral towers, built in perfect geometric patterns. Rising up from the seafloor, these structures look like underwater skyscrapers, sometimes over 100 feet tall, made entirely by tiny, soft-bodied creatures. But how do they form such perfect shapes in a place so hostile? Unlike the bright coral reefs in shallow waters, these towers don't need sunlight. Instead, they grow slowly, inch by inch, feeding off minerals and particles that drift down from above. The coral polyps work together, building layer upon layer, until the towers resemble spires, cones, and sometimes even spirals. Scientists first discovered them off the coast of Canada and in the Pacific Ocean. What surprised them wasn't just the size, but the precision. Some coral pillars seemed to align in regular spacing, like they were part of an invisible grid. No one knows why. Is it due to water currents? Magnetic forces? Or perhaps a pattern of growth we don't yet understand? These coral structures also support rare life forms: glow-in-the-dark anemones, delicate crabs, and ghostly fish with translucent skin. Each tower is like a living city, built in slow motion over centuries. As you begin to float into sleep, picture these towers glowing gently in the dark, rising like forgotten temples from a silent world. No rush, no noise, just growth, peace, and the quiet rhythm of time beneath the sea. 49. The bloop, ocean's loudest mystery sound. In 1997, something strange echoed through the Pacific Ocean, an ultra-low, thunderous sound, picked up by underwater microphones thousands of miles apart. It was so powerful that it could be heard across entire ocean basins. Scientists called it the bloop. At first, no one knew what to make of it. The sound had a biological signature, meaning it didn't seem to come from a machine or natural movement like earthquakes. Yet, to produce a sound that loud, the creature responsible would need to be larger than any known whale, far larger than anything living we've ever recorded. This led to a wave of speculation. Was it a colossal sea creature, still undiscovered and hiding in the deep? Some even imagined a modern-day Leviathan, an ancient beast, awakened beneath the waves. Others pointed to deep-sea icequakes or shifting tectonic plates, but these didn't quite fit the profile. Years later, NOAA suggested it might have been ice breaking off Antarctica. Still, the original bloop had strange qualities that don't match any other known ice noise. Since then, no sound like it has ever been recorded again. As your body relaxes and your thoughts drift, imagine the deep silence of the ocean, broken for just a moment by something massive. Something alive. Something still hidden. One sound. One moment. And then, nothing. The ocean goes quiet again, as if guarding a secret too big to surface. 50. The black smokers and their alien ecosystems. At the very bottom of the ocean, where no light reaches and pressure is crushing, there are towers that breathe. Known as black smokers, these underwater chimneys release superheated jets of water filled with minerals. The water, sometimes hotter than 700 degrees Fahrenheit, doesn't boil because of the immense pressure. Instead, it rises like smoke from a chimney, thick, black, and mysterious. What's truly astonishing isn't just the heat or the chemistry. it's what lives around them. Despite being in one of the most extreme environments on Earth, entire ecosystems thrive here. Tube worms with no mouths or stomachs, blind crabs, translucent fish, and bacteria that feed on sulfur and methane instead of sunlight. It's a completely alien food chain, powered by chemicals, not the sun. Some scientists believe these vents might be where life on Earth first began, billions of years ago. Others wonder, if life can survive here, could it also exist on distant moons like Europa or Enceladus, where similar vents might exist beneath icy oceans? Black smokers are constantly forming and dying, like volcanic breaths of the deep. Their heat fuels life in the coldest darkness, and their mystery reminds us that not all life needs warmth, light, or comfort. As you slip further into rest, picture these dark towers gently exhaling beneath the waves, glowing faintly, nurturing strange and beautiful creatures in complete darkness. Life, against all odds, blooming where it should never be. 51. The alien-like vampire squid. Despite its name, the vampire squid isn't a bloodthirsty predator. In fact, it's one of the ocean's gentlest, most mysterious creatures. Living thousands of feet below the surface, it floats silently in the twilight zone, where sunlight fades and the world turns cold and dark. Its appearance, however, is otherworldly. With deep red skin, large, haunting blue eyes, and a cape-like web of arms lined with fleshy spines, the vampire squid looks like something straight out of science fiction. It has bioluminescent organs that glow softly in the blackness, pulsing with calming light, and it can even release a cloud of glowing mucus instead of ink to confuse predators. But what makes it especially unusual is how it survives. Unlike most squid, it doesn't hunt aggressively. Instead, it passively drifts, collecting marine snow, tiny bits of dead plankton, fecal matter, and organic debris that slowly rain down from the world above. It wraps these particles in mucus threads and feeds on them, quietly recycling the sea's forgotten pieces. No one knows how long they live, how they mate, or how many even exist. The vampire squid is so elusive that it's rarely seen, only briefly glimpsed by deep-diving submersibles. As you begin to close your eyes, imagine this strange, floating creature gently pulsing its soft lights, drifting slowly in the quiet dark. A gentle presence in a world where few can follow. The vampire squid is not a monster. It's a whisper in the abyss. 52. The ghost ships beneath the ice. In the frozen reaches of the Arctic and Antarctic, beneath thick sheets of sea ice, there are ships lost to time. Ghost ships. Vessels swallowed by the cold, preserved perfectly in freezing black water for over a century. Some have been found, others are still missing, their fates wrapped in silence. One of the most haunting is the HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, part of Sir John Franklin's doomed expedition to navigate the Northwest Passage in 1845. The ships vanished, and for over 150 years, their disappearance became one of the great nautical mysteries. Sailors' bones were later discovered on land, marked with signs of desperation, cold, starvation, and possibly even cannibalism. Only recently were the wrecks found beneath the ice, incredibly well preserved in the freezing water. Inside were still dishes on tables, boots on the floor, books frozen in time. The deep cold acts like a vault, locking away the past with eerie precision. Other vessels, like Russian submarines, whaling ships, and merchant vessels, are rumored to rest in similar icy graves, undiscovered and untouched. What secrets lie within their hulls? What final moments were witnessed in the silence of the polar seas? As you rest, imagine those ships, still and undisturbed beneath sheets of ice. Time frozen. Moments preserved. A dream that never ended. The sea does not always bury. Sometimes, it remembers. 53. The puzzle of Mariana snailfish. In the deepest known trench on Earth, the Mariana Trench, where pressure is so intense it would crush a submarine, lives a creature that seems impossibly delicate, the Mariana snailfish. Pale, almost translucent, with no scales and a soft, gelatinous body, it doesn't look like much. But this tiny, ghostly fish holds one of the ocean's greatest mysteries. It's been found over 26,000 feet below the surface, making it the deepest living fish ever recorded. Down there, sunlight never touches, temperatures are near freezing, and the pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. Most life can't survive that. And yet, the snailfish thrives. What makes it so special? Scientists still aren't sure. Its bones are unusually soft, its body made almost entirely of jelly. It has unique proteins and cellular structures that help it resist the crushing pressure. But the exact reasons why this species can live so deep, while its close relatives can't, remain unknown. Even stranger, it doesn't look like a fierce predator or a specialized survivor. It looks gentle, simple, fragile, and yet, it lives in one of the harshest environments known. As you close your eyes, picture this soft little fish drifting slowly in the deepest part of the earth, moving with grace in a place no light has ever touched. Quiet, calm, unseen by almost all life. It reminds us that resilience often hides in the most delicate forms. 54. The sea caves that sing underwater. Scattered across the ocean floor are strange underwater caves, deep, dark chambers carved into rock by ancient volcanic activity or shifting tectonic plates. What makes these sea caves so unusual is not just their hidden nature, but the sounds they produce. Deep, humming tones. Long, drawn-out moans. Echoes that bounce and swirl like ghostly voices through the water. Divers and submersibles have reported the phenomenon for decades, being surrounded by tones that seem to have no clear source. The sound appears to come from the cave itself, resonating like the inside of a vast musical instrument. In some places, the pitch changes with the tide, temperature, or pressure, creating shifting underwater songs that are both eerie and beautiful. Scientists believe these acoustic effects might be caused by water rushing through narrow passages, or pressure changes interacting with trapped air pockets. But not all of the sounds have a clear explanation. In certain caves, the noises are constant, never-ending. In others, they seem to awaken only when someone approaches, as if the cave itself is responding. And sometimes, the frequency of the sound mimics marine life. Whales and dolphins may even respond, adding to the mystery. As your body grows heavier and your breath slows, imagine drifting past one of these underwater cathedrals. The sound surrounds you, soft and low, like a lullaby played by the earth itself. No words, no instruments, just the sea singing in its sleep. 55. The Underwater Pyramid of Yonaguni. Off the coast of Yonaguni, a small island in Japan's Okinawa prefecture, lies a massive structure beneath the sea. Discovered in the 1980s by a diver exploring the seabed, it looks like a pyramid or a stepped monument. Huge rectangular terraces, flat surfaces, sharp edges, and what appear to be staircases rise from the ocean floor, an architectural marvel sunken in silence. Some believe this structure, now known as the Yonaguni Monument, is a natural rock formation sculpted by millennia of erosion. Others are convinced it's the ruins of a lost civilization, possibly dating back to over 10,000 years ago, which would make it older than any known human city. Adding to the mystery are strange stone features nearby, carvings, what appear to be roads, and megaliths that resemble ancient altars or statues. The layout suggests intention, design, meaning, but the sea has blurred the lines. Coral covers the surfaces. Sediment fills the gaps. And still, the structure looms, massive, silent, and submerged. Was it once above water? A ceremonial site? Or just the Earth's natural artistry playing tricks on our imagination? As you drift into dreams, picture this underwater temple, timeless and still, resting quietly beneath gentle waves. Whether it was carved by hands or by time, it remains untouched, serene, and unknowable. Sometimes the ocean keeps its history not in ruins, but in riddles. 56. The shimmering brine pools of the deep. Deep beneath the surface of the sea, there are strange lakes that lie within the ocean itself. These are the brine pools, dense, shimmering bodies of salty water trapped in seafloor depressions, forming what looks like underwater lakes with their own shores, waves, and weather. Brine pools are far saltier than the surrounding seawater, and because salt water is denser, they don't mix. Instead, the pools sit heavy and still on the seafloor, creating a surreal mirror effect. If a submarine approaches, it seems to be floating above a second ocean inside the first. Some of these pools even have tiny waves that lap at the edges. And around them, despite their toxic, oxygen-deprived nature, are ecosystems of bizarre life forms. Tube worms, mussels, and bacteria thrive by using methane and hydrogen sulfide bubbling up from beneath the seafloor. But swimming into a brine pool can be deadly. The sharp salinity gradient can disorient or even kill deep-sea creatures that venture too far in. It's as if these lakes guard their own invisible boundaries. Scientists have called them lakes of death, but also gateways to understanding alien life. After all, if something can live in these isolated, toxic waters, could something similar survive in the oceans of other worlds? As you let go, imagine floating quietly above one of these hidden pools, the surface below you glimmering like glass. Still, mysterious, untouched. An ocean within an ocean, its secrets just beneath the surface. 57. The bioluminescent sharks that glow in the dark. Far below the surface, where sunlight can no longer reach, lives a species of shark that carries its own light. These are the bioluminescent sharks, deep-sea dwellers that can literally glow in the dark. One of the most mysterious among them is the lantern shark, a small creature that emits a soft blue-green light from its belly. This isn't just for show, it's a tool of survival. Scientists believe these sharks use counterillumination to match the faint light filtering from above, helping them blend in from predators looking up from below. It's like wearing an invisibility cloak made of light. But how they create this glow is still being studied. The light comes from photophores, tiny organs that produce bioluminescence, but the exact chemical processes remain unclear. Some species may even use their glow to communicate, signal mates, or lure prey in the pitch-black waters. Even more fascinating is that some glowing sharks, like the kitefin shark, can grow up to 6 feet long and still shine. That makes them the largest known glowing vertebrates on Earth. What else might be hiding in the dark, lit not by sunlight, but by the gentle pulse of their own light? As you drift into slumber, imagine a shark gently coasting through black water, glowing faintly like a living constellation. Peaceful, unseen, ancient. In the deep sea, even darkness learns to shine. 58. The silent zones where no sound echoes back. There are regions in the ocean so profoundly silent that sound seems to vanish entirely. These are the silent zones, strange places where echoes go missing and noises fade into a void. Sound behaves differently in the deep sea. Normally, underwater acoustics are powerful. Whale calls can travel hundreds of miles, and sonar can light up vast stretches of ocean. But in certain deep areas, particularly beneath layers of water at specific temperatures and pressures, sounds simply stop. These are called shadow zones or acoustic dead zones. Submarines have used them to hide. Some marine creatures may use them to escape predators or communicate in secret. But to the human ear, or to sonar, these zones feel unsettling. You speak, and nothing returns. No echo, no feedback, just stillness. Scientists believe that temperature, salinity, and pressure create layers that bend sound waves, redirecting them away from certain areas. But these zones aren't fixed. They can shift, expand, and vanish like underwater mirages. What's most eerie, though, is the experience of floating in such a place. Even machines designed to hear the ocean fall silent. As you sink into dreams, imagine floating in a quiet so deep that even your thoughts feel hushed. No sound, no echo, only the gentle rhythm of your breath, slow, calm, and alone with the sea. In the deep ocean, silence isn't empty. It's alive. 59. The phantom jellyfish with flowing veils. In the vast twilight of the deep sea, where light barely touches, drifts a creature so rare and ethereal that it feels like a dream. The phantom jellyfish, Stygiomedusa gigantea, is one of the most mysterious beings in the ocean. It can span over 3 feet wide, with 4 long, ribbon-like arms that flow behind it like ghostly veils, stretching up to 30 feet. This jellyfish has only been seen a few dozen times in over a century of deep-sea exploration. Most sightings come from robotic submersibles, which capture it slowly undulating through the water, its movements hypnotic, its body pulsing softly, its arms trailing in silence. What's most unusual is how little we know about it. Scientists don't fully understand its life cycle, diet, or how it navigates the crushing darkness. It seems to drift more than swim, riding deep currents in a slow, elegant glide. Some believe it uses its long arms to entangle prey drifting nearby, perhaps small fish or plankton. It has no stingers like a traditional jellyfish. It doesn't blink or dart. It just floats, silent, enormous, and glowing faintly in the gloom. As your thoughts slow and your body sinks deeper into calm, picture this translucent giant, gliding weightlessly in a world without time. No noise, no fear, just motion and stillness, perfectly balanced. The phantom jellyfish is not a monster of the deep. It is its poetry. 60. The mystery of the Baltic Sea anomaly. In 2011, a group of treasure hunters scanning the Baltic Sea floor with sonar discovered something unexpected. An object resting about 300 feet underwater, roughly 200 feet wide, shaped like a disc with sharp edges and geometric lines. From above, it looked like a crashed spaceship, complete with ramps, stair-like features, and what some claimed was a trail, as if it had skidded along the seafloor. Dubbed the Baltic Sea anomaly, the object quickly sparked wild theories. Some said it was an ancient alien craft. Others believed it was a lost structure from a forgotten civilization. But mainstream scientists offered more grounded ideas. It might just be a natural rock formation, shaped by glacier and currents over time. Still, there's something strange about it. Divers who approached the anomaly reported electrical equipment failure and said the surrounding water had an unusual temperature. The object itself seemed to be made of unusual metals, though this remains unverified. No one has been able to fully explore or excavate it due to difficult conditions and limited funding. And so, it remains there, silent, mysterious, and untouched. Is it merely a trick of geology? Or something more? As your eyes grow heavy, imagine standing on the ocean floor, gazing at a massive stone disk half buried in sand, its true nature hidden by time and water. In the deep, even shapes can whisper stories, and silence can echo with questions. 61. The disappearing signals of deep-sea volcanoes. Beneath the ocean floor lie thousands of underwater volcanoes, some active, others dormant, and many entirely hidden. These are seamounts and hydrothermal vents, where molten rock and scorching gases rise from the Earth's core. Occasionally, scientists detect tremors, vibrations, and strange acoustic signals from these deep-sea volcanoes, signs of eruptions miles beneath the waves. But sometimes, those signals just vanish. There are cases where underwater volcanoes suddenly go quiet after emitting strong seismic activity. Monitoring equipment picks up patterns that suggest something big is about to happen, but then, silence. No eruption. No trace. The signal stops, as if the volcano has simply disappeared or changed its mind. This isn't just an oddity, it's a problem. Scientists rely on these signals to study the ocean floor, predict volcanic activity, and understand tectonic movements. But when data goes missing without explanation, it leaves them puzzled. Did the volcano erupt silently? Did the pressure escape through an unknown channel? Or did something else entirely occur, something we don't yet understand? What adds to the mystery is the remoteness of these regions. Many deep-sea volcanoes have never been visited or seen by human eyes. The ocean guards their secrets well. As you sink into sleep, picture a volcano quietly simmering beneath miles of water, its voice lost to the depths. A slow rumble fades. Then, nothing. In the deep sea, even giants can move without a sound, and mysteries can disappear into silence. 62. The creeping blob-like creatures with no faces. Deep beneath the sea, where the pressure would crush ordinary life, there exist creatures that defy every expectation. Some of the strangest among them are gelatinous, faceless blobs, organisms with no eyes, no bones, and no recognizable features. They seem to ooze across the seafloor or float like slow-moving clouds, pulsing gently in the dark. One such creature is the deep-sea blobfish, often misunderstood thanks to out-of-water photos. In its natural habitat, it's a smooth, soft-bodied animal that floats just above the ocean floor, barely moving, conserving energy in a low-food environment. Others resemble blankets, jelly domes, or glowing sacs drifting slowly through the abyss. What are they? Some are xenophyrophores, single-celled organisms the size of dinner plates. Others are holothurians, or sea cucumbers, that glide like alien slugs across the seabed. There are even tunicates, sometimes called sea squirts, which look like drifting bags with mouths. Their bodies seem barely alive. No fast movements, no eyes, no sound. Just the faint rhythm of motion. They are designed to survive the impossible: cold, pressure, darkness, and hunger. To humans, they seem eerie. But in the stillness of the deep, they are perfect. As you rest, picture one of these faceless beings, drifting through silent black water, unbothered by the world above. Soft, peaceful, unfazed. In the deep sea, life takes forms we can't imagine, and sometimes, the strangest shapes are the most serene. 63. The strange lights that dance beneath the Arctic ice. Far beneath the frozen ceiling of the Arctic Ocean, there are moments when lights flicker and pulse, mysterious glows beneath the ice, seen by submarines, remote sensors, and, occasionally, startled researchers. These lights appear in isolated regions, far from sunlight, far from known sources of power. And they don't behave like normal bioluminescence. Sometimes they pulse in rhythmic patterns. Sometimes they drift like underwater auroras. In one case, a submersible recorded a series of flashes that looked like Morse code glowing in deep blue. But no creature or device was found responsible. Could these lights be a new form of bioluminescence? Or are they caused by something else, perhaps friction between massive ice sheets, or unknown interactions between minerals, pressure, and electricity? The Arctic is one of the least explored parts of our ocean, its depths shielded by thick ice year-round. Most of it has never been mapped. The creatures that live there are adapted to extreme cold, silence, and total darkness. So when light appears, it's not just surprising, it feels almost impossible. These strange illuminations remain unexplained, seen only in rare, fleeting glimpses. So as you lie still, imagine looking up from the seafloor and seeing the underside of the ice glow in soft, waving lights. No source. No noise. Just silent beauty in the dark. Somewhere out there, beneath the ice, something is shining, quietly, mysteriously, for no one but the sea. 64. The seafloor whirlpools that spin without end. Deep in the ocean, whirlpools are not just found on the surface. Some exist on the seafloor, spinning slowly but endlessly, vortices of water and sediment that seem to defy gravity and time. These underwater whirlpools, or benthic eddies, are rarely seen, but when they are, they raise more questions than answers. What causes them? Sometimes they form near undersea mountains or trenches, where complex currents swirl and collide. In other cases, they appear to spin without any visible force, spirals of sand, debris, and nutrients turning gently in place, untouched by the chaos above. What's haunting is that some of these whirlpools seem to never stop. They last for weeks, even months, maintaining their shape and motion with eerie consistency. They behave like watery tornadoes turned sideways, coiling in slow motion through the deep. Scientists wonder if these spinning columns help distribute nutrients, oxygen, or microscopic life. But there are also concerns that they may trap creatures inside, confusing fish, isolating larvae, or even disturbing communication signals. Instruments sent into them sometimes return garbled data, or don't return at all. Imagine looking across the ocean floor and seeing a spiral of sand, perfectly formed, slowly turning in place, untouched by time. silent, steady, eternal. As your breath deepens, picture yourself drifting past one, watching it spin like the hands of a hidden clock. The sea has its own rhythm, and some mysteries turn forever. 65. The deep sea singing whales no one can identify. In the vastness of the ocean, sound travels far, and sometimes it carries songs that no one can trace. Among these is the haunting melody of the 52 Hz whale, often called the loneliest whale in the world. It sings at a frequency no other known whale uses, 52 Hz, too high for blue whales, too low for humpbacks. It travels alone, year after year, calling out and receiving no reply. But the mystery doesn't stop there. In other parts of the world, researchers have picked up unidentified whale songs, strange sequences of moans, clicks, and pulses that don't match any known species. These aren't just one-time anomalies. Some of these unknown calls return each year, following patterns, suggesting the presence of an entire population of unidentified whales. What makes them so hard to find is their habitat. Many of these songs come from the deepest parts of the sea, where light never reaches and few research vessels venture. Despite advances in underwater microphones and tracking, the singers remain invisible. Are these new species? Ancient ones that have adapted to deeper, quieter worlds? Or could they be isolated pods that evolved separately with their own language? We don't know. And maybe we never will. As you drift into rest, let the idea of a lone whale singing through the deep surround you, a voice echoing through darkness, beautiful and unknown, carried by the ocean's currents. A lullaby from the deep. Never answered. Never alone. 66. The glass-like fish that appear then vanish. In the deep ocean, some creatures seem made not of flesh and bone, but of glass and shadows. One such marvel is the glass octopus, almost entirely transparent, its organs faintly visible through a shimmering body. But even more mysterious are the sightings of glass-like fish that have no known match in science. Fishermen and submersibles have reported seeing fish that look like floating panes of glass, completely see-through, with only faint outlines of fins or a glowing eye. These creatures often appear for just a moment, then vanish into the water like spirits. No one knows where they go, or how many exist. One of the most bizarre is the salp, a barrel-shaped, gelatinous organism that forms massive chains, sometimes hundreds of feet long. Though they look like jellyfish, they are actually closer to vertebrates, filtering plankton as they drift. Some species glow, others fade into invisibility when approached. Then there's the larval eel, a flat, transparent ribbon that looks more like cellophane than an animal. It floats, bends, and twists through the water, nearly invisible to predators and to us. But the most haunting are the ones no one has identified, seen only once, caught on blurry camera footage, or glimpsed through a submersible's window. No samples. No explanation. Like dreams, they arrive and fade. As if the ocean is showing us just a glimpse of what it holds, then gently pulling it back. Sleep now. Somewhere in the deep, the invisible still swims. 67. The black smokers that shouldn't exist. At the darkest depths of the ocean floor, where sunlight never reaches and pressures are crushing, there rise towering vents known as black smokers. These underwater chimneys spew superheated water filled with minerals, creating dark plumes that look like smoke. But what's strange is where some of them are found, in places that defy geological explanation. Typically, black smokers form at tectonic boundaries, where the Earth's plates spread apart. But a few have been discovered in isolated spots, far from any fault lines or known volcanic activity. Some of them emerge in areas thought to be geologically inactive for millions of years. No one knows exactly why they are there. Even more mysterious is what lives around them. Despite the boiling temperatures, toxic chemicals, and lack of sunlight, life flourishes. Giant tube worms, clams, shrimp, and bacteria that feed not on sunlight, but on the chemicals released by the vents. Entire ecosystems survive in complete darkness, powered by what seems like alien chemistry. These misplaced black smokers challenge everything we thought we knew about geology and biology. How can these heat sources exist where there should be none? What powers them? Could they be connected to deeper forces beneath the crust, or even hint at unknown geological processes? As you relax deeper, imagine these chimneys quietly puffing into the pitch-black sea, a strange breath from the Earth's hidden lungs. There, in the silence, the ocean smokes with mystery. 68. The vanishing trenches caught on sonar. Sonar scans have mapped much of the ocean's depths, but every so often, they reveal something that doesn't stay put, trenches that appear in one scan and are gone in the next. These aren't small shifts. Some of the anomalies measure miles wide, with steep walls and shadowed depths. Scientists first assumed these disappearing features were sonar glitches. But when the phenomenon happened across multiple scans, with different vessels and systems, it raised a chilling question: how can part of the seafloor vanish? One theory is that these trenches are actually massive sinkholes, formed by the sudden collapse of deep undersea caverns. Another suggests shifting tectonic plates may temporarily expose gaping chasms, which then seal again like the ocean swallowing its own scars. But none of these theories explain the sheer scale or suddenness of the changes. Some speculate the existence of undiscovered underwater processes, geological or otherwise, that we've never seen before. Others wonder if massive underwater landslides, too slow or deep to trigger tsunamis, could be quietly reshaping the seafloor beneath our awareness. There's also the unsettling possibility that we're simply not seeing the full picture, that something vast is moving beneath us, just out of reach. Close your eyes now and imagine the ocean floor, solid and ancient, until it isn't. A stretch of seabed quietly falls away into shadow. And then it's gone. In the deep, not everything that disappears leaves a trace. 69. The whispering currents of the Mariana Trench. Deep beneath the western Pacific Ocean lies the Mariana Trench, the deepest known part of Earth's seafloor. At nearly 7 miles down, it's darker than night, colder than ice, and so pressurized it could crush steel. But what mystifies researchers most isn't just its depth, it's the strange, whisper-like sounds that have been recorded echoing through its waters. In 2016, a haunting, 3.5-second sound was captured by underwater microphones. It began as a deep moan, rose into a strange wailing crescendo, and faded into a rattle, almost like a call or a warning. Scientists couldn't match it to any known whale or mechanical noise. They dubbed it the Western Pacific Biotwang. But this isn't the only sound. Many deep-sea microphones placed around the trench have picked up whispers, pulses, and clicking languages that defy identification. Some occur regularly, almost like conversation. Others appear once, then never again. Because the trench is so difficult to access, we know very little about what lives there. Some believe these sounds may come from undiscovered deep-sea creatures, adapted to live in total darkness. Others suggest they might be geological in nature, rock shifting, gas escaping, or seismic movements. Yet none of these fully explain the rhythm and pattern of the whispers. As you drift now into stillness, picture a world so far beneath you, it feels like another planet. Down there, in the silence, the ocean murmurs in a language we don't yet understand. It's not shouting. It's whispering. Just enough for dreams to follow. 70. The red circles spotted on the abyssal plains. The abyssal plains are the vast, flat stretches of ocean floor that lie between deep-sea trenches and underwater ridges. They are some of the most featureless, desolate places on Earth, cold, dark, and seemingly lifeless. But in recent years, deep-sea surveys have uncovered something both beautiful and unexplained: perfect red circles appearing across the plains, like strange underwater crop circles. These circles, often over a meter wide, glow with a faint red hue under the submersible's lights. Some seem etched into the sediment. Others look raised, almost like coral or spongy growths, but they don't match any known species or mineral formation. Even stranger, they appear in repeating patterns, as if something had deliberately placed them there. When researchers try to approach or sample them, the circles sometimes vanish, either disturbed by currents or disintegrating on contact. No one has been able to retrieve a sample or observe what forms them. Some think they could be bioluminescent organisms, living colonies that glow briefly before fading. Others suspect they are signs of buried thermal activity, invisible cracks in the Earth's crust letting out minerals that briefly light up the seafloor. And then there are the more imaginative theories that these are signs, markings left by something intelligent beneath the waves. As you settle in, imagine those glowing red rings pulsing gently in the dark, like the heartbeat of the sea. No answers. Just light. Just wonder. The ocean paints its own riddles, on a canvas we've barely begun to see. 71. The cold seeps where life grows from death. In the frigid blackness of the deep sea, there are places where the earth quietly weeps. These are known as cold seeps, cracks in the seafloor where methane, hydrogen sulfide, and other chemicals ooze into the water. Unlike the scalding vents we often hear about, cold seeps are cool to the touch, but they are just as strange and just as alive. Around these seeps, life gathers in unexpected forms. Giant clams, mussels, and tube worms thrive here, creatures that shouldn't survive in such hostile, sunless places. There is no sunlight, no photosynthesis. Instead, entire ecosystems are powered by chemosynthesis, bacteria converting toxic chemicals into energy. It's as if the ocean has invented a second version of life, one that feeds on death. But it's not just the biology that confounds scientists. Some cold seeps appear suddenly and disappear just as fast. Others move, inching slowly across the seafloor like migrating oases. Sometimes, a seep stops flowing, and everything around it dies. Then, miraculously, years later, it returns. Why? No one knows. And beneath the seeps are vast stores of methane hydrate, a strange ice-like substance that traps gas. If disturbed, it could release massive plumes of methane into the ocean, or even the atmosphere. Some believe these hidden reservoirs may have played a role in past extinction events. Now, let your mind drift to one of these hidden places. Cold, dark, but teeming with strange life. It whispers to us that life finds a way, even in the loneliest corners of the deep. 72. The giant moving shadows beneath Arctic ice. In the remote stillness beneath the Arctic ice sheet, submarines and autonomous vehicles have reported something deeply unsettling: enormous moving shadows, gliding silently through the water below the ice. Too big to be whales. Too silent to be submarines. And always gone before they can be clearly seen. Some of these shadows stretch over 60 feet in length. Sonar picks them up sometimes, but when cameras are deployed, nothing appears. Researchers who have worked in the region speak of instruments malfunctioning, data disappearing, or shapes passing just beyond the light's edge. It's as if something is deliberately avoiding being captured. There are many possible explanations: massive squid, pods of rarely seen whales, or simply false sonar readings caused by thick layers of ice and cold. But none explain the way the shadows move, slowly, deliberately, as if observing. Once, a shadow was tracked for nearly an hour. It hovered beneath an exploration drone, then drifted off into the dark. Some even suggest ancient creatures, survivors from the ice ages, hidden beneath the polar cap. The melting of the Arctic might be revealing what's been buried for millennia. And so, the question remains: what lives beneath the ice, unseen and undisturbed? As you drift into sleep, imagine yourself lying above that frozen world, the stars above, and endless water below. Something stirs beneath the ice. Slow. Silent. Watching. But in this moment, it's far away. And you are safe, wrapped in warmth, as the shadows glide on. 73. The coral towers of the twilight zone. Far below the reach of sunlight lies the ocean's mysterious middle layer, a dim and shadowy region known as the twilight zone. It stretches from about 650 to 3,300 feet deep, too dark for photosynthesis, yet not quite the abyss. Most assumed coral couldn't survive here, since it relies on sunlight. But explorers have recently discovered something astonishing: towering coral structures in this near darkness, growing hundreds of feet high. These aren't the colorful reefs you might see near tropical beaches. These deepwater corals are pale, ghostly, and incredibly ancient. Some have been growing for thousands of years, untouched by storms, sunlight, or human hands. They build upon the bones of their ancestors, layer by layer, creating massive underwater cathedrals. How do they survive? That's still a mystery. Without light, they rely on tiny drifting particles of organic material falling from the surface, often called marine snow. These flakes of decay become life again in the deep. And yet, these reefs are teeming with strange species, many of which scientists have never seen before. Some of these coral towers grow in complete silence. Others appear to form near volcanic ridges or in colder currents, but no clear rule defines where they appear. Why here? Why now? Tonight, imagine those towers standing silently in the blue twilight. Unseen, unspoiled, alive in ways we don't yet understand. In a world that hides its secrets well, some of the most beautiful things are never meant to be found. 74. The Bleeding Rock of the Pacific Ridge. Somewhere along the Pacific Ridge, deep beneath the ocean's surface, there is a rock that seems to bleed. Not metaphorically, but literally oozing a crimson fluid from cracks in its surface. First discovered during a remotely operated vehicle (ROV) dive, this bizarre formation drew immediate attention. Against the cold gray-blue seafloor, it looked as though the stone had been wounded. When researchers got closer, they found that this blood wasn't actually blood, but a thick, iron-rich fluid, warmer than the surrounding water, emerging slowly and constantly from inside the rock. Its exact source remains unknown. The rock doesn't sit near a known hydrothermal vent, and no volcanic activity has been recorded nearby. Even stranger, the bleeding rock seemed to be feeding a small, thriving community of worms, bacteria, and gelatinous creatures, life that depends entirely on the fluid as if drawn to it. How long has it been bleeding? Is it a sign of something deeper, a hidden vent system, a slow eruption, or even a new form of mineral excretion? Some have theorized that the red fluid might hint at a whole undiscovered network of underground channels and geologic structures beneath the ridge. Others suggest it may be part of a deep biosphere, living rock itself. So, as you slip into sleep, picture this strange, red-veined stone resting quietly in the dark, bleeding slowly into the sea, for reasons we still don't understand. Some mysteries don't scream for attention. They simply seep through cracks, waiting to be noticed. 75. The black smoker that roared once and then fell silent. Deep in a remote stretch of the ocean floor, scientists once recorded something unexpected, a black smoker vent that seemed to roar. These hydrothermal vents usually hiss, bubble, and flow gently, releasing superheated water rich with minerals. But this one, according to instruments and audio recordings, let out a single, low-frequency sound, a deep, echoing rumble. And then, it stopped. Completely. No more heat. No more gases. No more sound. Black smokers are usually born from volcanic activity beneath the seafloor. They belch hot, dark plumes that nourish strange ecosystems, tube worms, shrimp, and bacteria that thrive without sunlight. But this vent had acted differently. For a brief moment, it had howled, sending vibrations across miles of water. The sound wasn't mechanical. It wasn't like whale song or tectonic movement. It was something else, brief, powerful, and purposeful. When researchers returned, they found the smoker still there, but cold and silent. The creatures that once gathered around it were gone. The surrounding area was undisturbed, as if the vent had never existed. What caused it to roar? Some speculate that a sudden collapse in the Earth's crust might have forced a burst of energy upward. Others whisper about unknown geological systems, or even a form of deep-sea resonance, a natural event we've never heard before. One thing is certain, it has never happened again. Now, as your thoughts drift gently toward sleep, imagine the deep ocean listening. A world of silence, where even a single roar becomes a legend. And just like that, the deep sea returns to quiet, holding its secrets close.